The Pilates foot corrector is I think it's my favorite small piece. It is just a fantastic tool for people who have to stand a lot, really for anyone who just like wears shoes, maybe if you dance. So I'm going to show you the basic foot corrector exercises today. I do recommend a pair of socks for the last exercise. Now I will say this is, like all Pilates pieces, this one is kind of expensive, and it's actually not that expensive compared to a lot of equipment, and given, there's some springs here, like this was a little bit of work for someone to put together. So of all of the things out there, I actually don't really think that the foot corrector is super overpriced. I don't. If you are really getting into your practice, and working on your feet is a thing that you want to do, and it's something we all should do. I would say one of these is worth your investment. This is the Basic Balanced Body Foot Corrector. This is not a sponsored video at all. They are not giving me any money. This is just the one I use and I like. Now, if you do not have one of these and you are not ready to invest yet, you can simulate this work by, I'm using a silicone ball. It is a rad recovery round. Again, this is not sponsored. This is just what I've been using rad recovery rounds since 2018, I think. Something like that, so like 5 years, love them. So you can do you can use like a silicone ball, something that's sturdy but also a little soft, to replicate this. If you are, I don't get stuck yet, if you are of the DIY mindset, I have not, either I nor my partner have tried to build one of these yet, but if you want any tips, drop a comment. Okay, so the big thing about the foot corrector is, and yes, I am wearing one ankle weight, it is to address a particular imbalance. You do not need ankle weights for that. In fact, I generally wouldn't recommend it most of the time, and certainly not asymmetrically. I'm just working to address a specific issue. So, the most challenging thing about the foot corrector for me is there's a tendency to want to look down at what your foot is doing. I understand that. However, that is not something we want to do. So this is why it can be nice to work on it with a teacher. And hey, guess what? I'm open for in-person and online privates. So wherever you are, you can work with me, and I'd love to teach this to you. So this is why it's good to work with it with a teacher. If you have a small mirror, you could put that in front of your foot so you could maybe sort of look at the mirror. Or again, I'm recording myself, so I'll be able to see what my foot is doing. But in general, keep your posture up, and whatever in line for you is. Everyone's specific is different. So it is super tempting to look at your leg, but guess what? You lose a ton of integrity here, and you're actually going to make the exercise harder. So the first one we start, I've got the ball of my foot, my toes on the foot bar. And I try to stretch my toes all the way, and then I press and lift. Extend my toes out as wide as can and press and lift. And then I'm going to adjust my standing leg a little bit. It can be tough to sort of figure out, go again. Just stretch your toes. I just look down and press and lift. And keep going like that. And yeah, it can be tough to find the right standing position in general, but then maybe just on a specific day, it doesn't feel, you have to shuffle around a little bit. That's all right. You can do 5 to 10 of these. Lift and press. And no, I'm not lifting very far this morning. I pretty much just got out of bed, and I wanted to record some stuff before work, so I haven't even had coffee, so no. So this is not a big range of motion. Ooh, I look down again, last one. See, even I look down. That's how tempting it is. All right, next is you put your heel on it. Really try to get like the center of your heel. Spread your toes as wide on the base as possible. And I can feel my hip, my left hip is the one facing the camera, it really wants to come forward. I'm going to pull it back in a little, and I press with my heel and lift, and press, and lift, and I really feel my hamstring turning on. And press, and press, and press, and press. I think I personally find this one the most accessible of the 3 basic foot corrector exercises. You will probably feel differently because everyone's feet are different, everyone's specific strengths and weaknesses are different. All right, now this last one. This last one is a little tricky. You're working the arch, but you're not working like the center of the arch. You're working more this back arch right here. So you want to find a place where your toes can still stay on the foot bar. So for me, my heel is off this, it's called a barrel, it is a tiny barrel. My heel is off the barrel, but my toes are on the board, and I've got, you'll see that, I'm going to do this from the front so you'll be able to see a little better, but I've got like the very front of my heel is what's on the barrel. And I press and lift, and press and lift. This is the hardest one for me. Although I'm weirdly finding with the ankle weight, it is actually like, I don't know if the ankle weight is just helping me with alignment or helping me with resistance, but try to keep that pinky toe really connected. My pinky toe wants to roll off the base. We don't want that. But yeah, it's very fun to actually do this with an ankle weight because it's really giving me something. That's really cool. And then I come up. All right, I'm going to turn this to the front for the other side, and then we'll pull up the sock. And it's also a good chance to be like, man, my foot feels like my left foot that I just worked. That feels wonderful. All right, so I'm going to just show it from the front because I think, especially with a less familiar apparatus like this, seeing it from a different angle can help. So I'm gonna get my stance a little wider. And again, I try to spread my toes as much as possible and press and lift and press and lift. In this first exercise, I'm getting a really nice calf stretch. And of course, we're really working the foot, working the ankle, working that. Really, I feel a lot of it in the front part of my ankle. Try to keep my standing toes down. My left toes want to lift. All right. Heel. So you can see here, I really spread my toes as wide as I can. Center that heel. I do want to look down to start to just make sure that heel is centered. I really want to get my right pinky toe does not want to go down this morning. I mean, ever really, but I'm really noticing it this morning. And I press from the heel and lift, and press and lift. And again, I was saying on the other side that, what the version of this, exercise that you might find more or less accessible is going to depend on a lot of factors. Just because something is ostensibly more advanced or it's more difficult, that doesn't mean it's always harder for everyone. I've noticed, I'm really feeling a hip hike this morning. I've got to press that pinky toe down. My pinky toe really wants to come up. All right. Now that transverse one. So again, my heel is off, but I hope you can see. I hope you can see I'm in a sort of high heel position, but my heel is really off. I'm really trying to get all 5 toes set, and I press and lift. Anyway, I said this in a video for my people who are just on my email list that I recorded before this, that one of the things I really learned especially in this last iteration of my teacher training, is that just because something is more advanced, depending on your strengths, your weaknesses, your flexibility, your tightness, your injury history, something that is technically more advanced might be more accessible for a lot of people. It's still considered more advanced for various reasons, such as risk, how risky it is, or how in general across a general population, how much more challenging it could be. But when I say something is really hard for me, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be harder for you or easier. And yeah, I gotta say, doing this on 2 separate sides, something about the ankle weight, wow, really made it interesting. Last one. Then for this last part, this is the part where I recommend you put your socks on. And it is foot massage. So I'm going to start with my first foot, and again, there's a temptation to look down. This is really self-directed. So running your foot over that barrel, and you maybe want to stop. Like I'm always really tight right behind that first big toe joint, so I'm going to stay there for a minute. I'm really tight in the middle of my arch. Again, this is self-directed. You can do with this what you will. And I'm going to turn to the side for the last one. I'm actually going to turn and, I'll turn this. I'm going to turn this way because I'm not sure you'll really get to see as well if I'm facing the other way. And again, so always make sure you do both sides. Here I'm like, there's a little knot like right in the front of my heel. This part, there is no time limit. I have to go to my desk job. So I cannot really hang a lot around doing this too much longer, but take all the time you want with this. Let it feel really, really good. Enjoy yourself. This is great. Even if you've been sitting all day and your feet don't hurt, if you've been sitting all day, you haven't been working your feet, so maybe do that. I like to do this also after hikes or anything where I've had to stand all day, or if I've ever had to wear, if I've worn my fancy cowboy boots, they're beautiful, they're not comfortable, and my feet always feel like compressed little blocks when I'm done. So this is a nice restorative for that. Anyway, I hope that